Olivia. In this review, we're going to be talking about a horror zombie movie that's also a comedy. Hilarious, by the way. 2004 film, so it is a little older. If you have any guesses, make them now, because it's the movie Shaun of the Dead. I briefly mentioned this movie in my Tropic Thunder review, which if you haven't seen that, check that out, because that movie's brilliant, and I like to think my review is too. But I said in my review that this movie had a good balance between the level of action and the level of comedy. There was an equal amount, and I stand by that. But before we get started with our review, I would like to take a moment to have you guys hit that notification bell and subscribe, because we have blown through the 700 subscribers. Now we're at 771. We're so close to 800, and then you know what comes after, the next big milestone, 1K. I'm so thankful for all the support. Thank you so much, guys. Let's keep it up. Keep up those subscriptions, and I'll keep up dropping movie content. Another thing before we get started, the weather here has been nasty. I mean, no, I don't think the zombie apocalypse is gonna start anytime soon, but what is going on in the world right now? It's freezing cold, and I live in the southern states. I have some family and people I know who live up in Minnesota, and it's still snowing there and in the negatives. I'm just ready for summer at this point. Anywho, enough of my yapping. Let's get started. Now, I love this movie for many different reasons. Not only are the characters hilarious in doing the most random crap ever and have zero survival instincts, but also it's still intimidating and intense is the word I'm looking for. Even though this is a comedy, so the zombies aren't super scary, and this movie isn't considered creepy or a horror movie I would really consider it as. It's just a fun, goofy zombie movie. But zombies are still zombies, and there still is that intense factor that's oh boy, I mean, because no matter what in zombie movies, there's still killing, still death. I like how there's an equal amount of comedy and action. I mean, even though they're hilarious and you're laughing, you're also feeling kind of scared for the characters, and you're kind of laughing through the, oh my gosh, they're gonna die, aren't they? Or what's gonna happen next? Although I genuinely did get kind of jump scared at one point. I screamed so loud. Now, I've seen every main popular horror movie, I feel I mean, I've seen The Conjuring, I've seen The Descent, I've seen The Witch, Hereditary, which I love that movie. Hereditary kind of gives witch vibes by Robert Eggers, where it's just kind of creepy, and you're just kind of what's going on, because the movie's so weird. It's not just a horror movie where monsters are jumping out at the screen and it's all over the place. It's very interesting because it's a cult witch movie. And of course, I've also seen the show Walking Dead. Gave up at season 100 because that show's never gonna end. I've seen Dawn of the Dead, not to be mistaken with Shaun of the Dead. World War Z or whatever, something Z. It's a zombie movie. Dawn Z, I don't know. And then I've seen the movie Sinister, which honestly I feel is very overrated. I mean, it's considered one of the most scariest movies, but I'm gonna be really honest, I did not find that movie scary at all. There is some intense scenes and some creepy parts, but I did not find that movie scary at all. I wasn't scared to go to bed at night, or watching the movie I wasn't oh no, I gotta cover my eyes. But anywho, okay, I've seen a lot of horror movies. So I like movies like that though. All those movies I just listed off, they're all horror, considered to be scary, intense. They're not really comedy or funny. They're just really crazy. So I was kind of indecisive going into Shaun of the Dead, not really excited for it, because I was it's a comedy. I mean, I was expecting it to be this schlocky film where the zombies were just kind of dumb, which they were dumb in this movie, but in a good way. And I expected the movie to be kind of boring and just cringy. But boy, was I wrong. This movie was amazing. Now let me go over why. So really, there's not much to it, to the plot. I mean, there never really is with these zombie movies. The plot of Shaun of the Dead is there's a zombie outbreak from a virus probably, and the two main guys, Shaun and his friend, they're kind of losers. His friend doesn't really work. He just sits around all day playing video games. They have 3 people who live with them, Shaun, his friend, and then some other guy who really hates this friend because he never works, just eats all their food, is rude, makes mean jokes, has no motivation or drive, but Shaun keeps him around because they're buds. And to be honest, I mean, Shaun isn't like this super like great person either who's motivated and working. He had a girlfriend in the movie, but at like the beginning of the movie they break up because she's like, yeah, dude, I can do so much better than you. You have like no will or anything to get your life in order. Which, like, I respect the girl for standing up for herself, but also, I mean, to be fair to Shaun, she didn't really have any motivation either. Like, she lived with her friends, was kind of just chill too. I mean, it's not like she was like so much higher and better than him, making bank. I mean, to be fair, she did not need to dump him, because she was in like the same exact situation as he was. But from the beginning of the movie, obviously the zombies don't come in right away, but we can kind of see things starting to happen on the news in the background. Whatever, some sketchy homeless guys doing something weird in the back. But the creators were brilliant because they were showing that, like, people basically already do act like zombies, you know? I mean, you sit on your cell phones, you go through the same routine every day, wake up, brush your teeth, go to school/work, or, like, you sit around and play video games. It's, like, the same every day, you know? Nothing really real or exciting. Unless you're rich or have a lot of money to spend where you can, like, go travel and go on vacation a lot. And after doing that for so long, you just kind of, like, feel numb to the routine, which is, like, what the creators are doing. They're showing, like, yeah, you people are basic. You're basically zombies. But what makes this movie so amazing is the relationship between Shaun and his friend who, like, kind of is lazy and just plays video games all day. Hold on, I'm just gonna Google his name really quick. Ed. His name is Ed. Probably the most easy name to remember, but somehow I forgot it. Anywho, their relationship is like just two bros. I mean, they hang out, don't really give a crap about anyone else. Well, Ed does at least. Shaun really only cares about what his girlfriend and his mom. But they got each other, two best friends. I mean, what more could a person want? Although, like I mentioned before, Ed isn't great. He's holding Shaun back, distracting him. He's just not a good influence for Shaun. I mean, I also think that's why Shaun's girlfriend, that was part of the reason why she broke up with him, because of Ed. And Ed's survival instincts are probably worse than Shaun's, and I don't even know how that's possible. Also, this review may contain spoilers. I mean, I'm not planning on, like, telling you the whole plot and everything that happens and spoiling it all, just because, like, you guys just want the main idea. But this movie is also older, so I assume a lot of you guys have seen it. I won't give away, like, too much, though. If you haven't seen it and don't want it to get spoiled, I might just give, like, a tiny little example of a shot from the movie away, just to kind of, like, make a point later. Once a zombie outbreak happens, it, like, starts up right away, which I love. A lot of times, horror movies will just pander it out, you know? They'll have zombies and stuff going on in the background, but then the main characters will kind of just stand there, or they won't notice. They'll just kind of like, la la la, or they'll stand around arguing for a half hour on like what to do. It's a whole process. In this movie, they get the zombies going right away, and Ed and Shaun, bless their idiotic hearts, are skipping around town, going to the tavern. Shaun is crying because his girlfriend dumped him. They're just being goofy. And as you see them, like, in, like, you know, the screen doing this stuff, in the background, there's, like, people biting the heads of pigeons off, people, like, eating each other, and these two are just oblivious to it all, skipping around, having a blast, which, honestly, if you're not, like, paying attention to the background, you're gonna miss it all, because the whole background setting has a life to itself, because that's where all the drama's happening. I love that, because it's really subtle where you can miss it, but also, if you are really paying attention, you can see, like, oh boy, there's zombies in the background, and these two are, like, gonna get themselves killed, because they don't notice. I mean, at one point, there's, like, this zombie who's going up to them, but Shaun and Ed just think it's like some drunk homeless guy or something. So they're like teasing him and making fun of him as the guy's like going in, trying to like eat their neck. And they're just laughing about it, pushing him off like, oi mate. And we as the audience are like just sitting there like, are you for real right now? That's a zombie. But these two have immaculate luck, because there's a lot of situations at the beginning of the movie like that, where there's a zombie right behind them or literally right in front of them or eating someone in the background, and those two just, don't care, they don't notice anything. Or the news channel will be on and like the news reporter will be talking about it and they'll just flip through the channels like bored as everybody's talking about the zombies. It's perfect. Until a zombie actually gets to their house and they're like, oh wait, we're screwed. There's a whole apocalypse and infection going on right now. So then Shaun's like, yeah, we need to go get my mom, make sure she's okay. We need to go get my girlfriend. Even though, to be fair, the girlfriend would have been so much better without his help. Because the girlfriend and her friends, her roommates, were on, like, the highest level in the apartment building where, like, no zombies were because they were all on the ground. So if Shaun would have just let them be there, they would have been fine. But instead, he grabs them, brings them to, like, this bar, which is in the center of the street, like, the center of the town. Zombies are roaming around and all chaos breaks loose from there. Now this movie is incredibly fast-paced, which I do love. I mean, I loved it so much, I was like wishing it was longer so I could like see what happens next. Even though they don't end the movie on a cliffhanger or anything like crazy or weird that like is left open for interpretation. I would have just loved to see more of like the adventures the characters went on to like get away from the zombies, because it was so entertaining and hilarious. Because the whole time, Shaun and Ed are just winging it, completely like oblivious and having like the best luck on their side for having zero survival instincts whatsoever. Which, okay, I will admit, we all love a strong, manly Rick Grimes blowing through zombies. And we love a baddie, strong female lead, Miss Shaun with her katana. Right? These main characters that are just ripping through it, carrying the show or movie. But once in a while, it gets old. We never really see a whole crew of characters that are just basic people. I mean, it's always fun to put yourself in like shoes of movies and shows and be like, I wonder what I would be like if I was in this situation. Well, if you watch Shaun of the Dead, you got your answer, because as a normal teenage girl, if I'm not dead in like the first 5 seconds of the zombie apocalypse, which is probably most likely, I'd be trying to survive like these characters, barely hanging on by a thread, having dumb luck on my side, freaking out the whole time. Now, I do love all these characters. I love Shaun's girlfriend. I think she's so sweet and cute, and I love how she kind of gets back together with him at the end. She forgives him for his mistake, and I love Ed and Shaun's relationship. It's heartfelt, it's heartwarming, even though those two bring out the worst in each other and they're kind of idiots. Okay, the cast and characters and acting is amazing. The only person, however, I despise in this movie is that guy who's roommates with Shaun's girlfriend with glasses. I do not like him. That Harry Potter main character wannabe. He thought he ate. He thought he was serving when he was standing up to Shaun, and he was like, your boyfriend has no idea what's going on and what to do. Like, boy, I'd like to see you come up with a better plan then, because just standing there and whining like a little baby is not helping. Like, I'm not saying I could survive the zombie apocalypse or anything, but if I was with a group of like really good, strong people, and there was kind of this person who elected theirself as like the leader, as long as they were helping everybody out, I would not be arguing with them. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut and stick with these people to survive. This dude had the nerve to like talk bad about Shaun and say that it was his fault they were in this mess, which like, yeah, it is true. I mean, they probably would have been fine up in their apartment, but also, Glasses Bro did not have to go with. He could have stayed back. He just likes leeching off of the girls' money. I mean, that dude's more of a loser than Shaun and Ed, because at least those two have their own apartment. This guy literally lives with the girls, contributing absolutely nothing. Which, like, okay, his character was supposed to be like this in the movie. I'm not saying, like, the actor was bad. I mean, the actor was great. And you can always tell the acting is good when you, like, really love a character or also, like, really despise it, because that means they're doing a good job of playing their part. So, not the actor's fault, just didn't like the character. Because he genuinely did something to mess everything up, which I won't spoil in case some of you haven't seen this movie or haven't seen it in a while and are thinking of rewatching it. But this bro had to be killed. He had to be sacrificed to the zombies. But yeah, So the plot, I mean, it's very simple, which is what I like. There's nothing like super crazy where in zombie movies they're like, oh, and by the way, the virus started from this, and there's some weird like crazy twist at how it actually started, and it goes like really deep into everything. It's just a fun, funny, hilarious, intense horror comedy movie. There is a little bit of a twist at the end though with Ed, which I think is hilarious and had me flabbergasted. But if you can remember, it's just so funny at the end because Ed got what he always wanted in life. And to be fair, Ed was basically the exact same at the end of the movie as he was at the beginning. Let's be real here. And he got an even better deal because nobody was nagging him. So yeah, if you have seen this movie, I would love to know in the comments what you think of it. If you've seen it, your thoughts. Cause like, I love this movie and I feel like it needs more recognition. Like, nobody really talks about it. I never even knew it was existed until like my parents were like, oh, by the way, we should watch Shaun of the Dead. And I'm like, okay. Like, this is definitely one of those movies that needs to get out there and talked about more. Cause this movie's fun for all ages. I mean, even though it wasn't scary, I definitely won't go showing it to like your 10-year-olds or like little kids. I'd say for age, I'd say like 13 or older. Just because a zombie movie is still a zombie movie. But otherwise, adults, teenagers, I mean, it holds up so well. And I like these movies, like these style, a lot better than these new crappy shows and movies coming out now, like Euphoria. And like all these dumb movies about teenagers just getting drunk and high all the time. Like, no thank you. I'd rather watch a fun horror comedy movie or action movie or something that doesn't make me want to kill myself. So yeah, I just want to see more of like these movies being talked about. So let's try and get this movie out there. Anyway, like if you've enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell again. Godzilla x Kong, I will be doing a review for that. But anywho, thanks for watching and I hope I'll see you around.